I am working on a story today looking at a couple immigration related topics. The first one I'll start with, what does it mean for the Trump administration to be able to have a little more freedom to deport people from Venezuela? I know under the parole program under the previous administration, a lot of people came in, were flown in from Venezuela. I guess first question for you is remind us, when Alejandro Mayorkas a few years ago told us we can vet everybody coming in, was that true?
No, was not true. He's still on TV all the time, says that everybody's being released, being vetted. That's just depends what definition of vetting means. I mean, to me, vetting means make sure the guy, wait, make sure we know what his criminal history is, this national security threat matrix is. But we don't have access to foreign nations' criminal history. When they're talking about vetting, they're vetting them against NCIC and III, the state systems here. So unless they had a prior arrest in the United States, we have no history, so that's not truly vetting if you don't have a criminal history from foreign nations. Most foreign nations, especially Central America and South America, they don't have an NCIC like we got. Second of all, when they screen people to the terror watch system, most terrorists in this world aren't found in any database. Unless they're part of a T3 operation or a terrorist investigation or they're encountered by DOD on the battlefield and got a retina scan done, we don't know they exist. So the vetting was you can use the term vetting, but the vetting was so weak, it really wasn't vetting at all. And I think the IG, even the Afghanistanians they flew in, he said they were totally vetted. Even DOD IG came back, says they were not. So that administration, that's one of the many lies they pushed the American people.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. We have to think about not only the system or lack thereof that they have in countries like Venezuela or Cuba or Haiti. We also have to think about the relationship between the U.S. and these countries. Remind us the relationship with the U.S. It's not like we're on, excellent, amazing terms with, Venezuela's government, right?
Exactly. Look, Venezuela's not going to share national security information with us. Either as many countries that, Uzbekistan and some of these other countries that came across. Do you think China's sharing national security information with us on, the tens of thousands that came in? No, of course you're not. Or Turkey or some of these other countries or Syria? No. So that's why the vetting under that last administration was very, very weak. We stepped up vetting tenfold in this administration, but right now we got the most secure border in the history of this nation. We're not dealing with, you know, you know, an average day up to 10,000 illegal aliens crossing the southern border every day. The number last night was 212 total. 212 people were arrested crossing the border. So with a secure border comes a safer nation. So vetting's still important, but we're dealing with a lot less people, so we can really dig down, do deep dive in the vetting, which we have time to do now.
Talk about the Venezuelan migrants who have been living here. Why is it that you think it's important to send them back to their home country?
Well, a couple of reasons. First of all, we got to remember through the CHNV, the program that Mayorkas and Biden administration created was just a shell game, right? They want to claim illegal crossings are down. Boy, did we reduce illegal crossings? No, they didn't. They decreased it a little bit, but they created two programs. One's called the CHNV, Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, Venezuela. We'll bring 30,000 a month from the illegal alien population that will still be at the southern border. But you know what? We'll bring them into our airports. Then we'll take the CBP one app, the same illegal alien population south of the border. We'll bring thousands of them to the port of entry. And we'll call the CBP one and CHNV legal pathways, which they weren't. So it's the same illegal population. They created two buckets saying the legal pathways so they can say, well, the illegal numbers are down. No, the same amount of people are coming. They just came through three different buckets. So it was a shell game. But Venezuela is important. Look, most of that, I won't say most, many of the Venezuelans they flew in, they didn't fly from Venezuela. They came from Ecuador. They came from other countries because the Venezuelan nationals, many of them have already got due process in other countries, a safe third country living there. Many of the Venezuelans haven't been to Venezuela over a decade. So as again, another shell game. But look, temporary protector status means temporary protector status. I've been doing this since 1984. And one of the things that irritates me every administration is that they keep extending TPS. Temporary means temporary. Once a condition in that country is better than it was when they awarded TPS, then the people need to go home. It's temporary protective status. Temporary means temporary, and that's what President Trump's doing.
A lot of the people here, though, they had jobs. This could, if 350,000 people are sent away, that could really affect the economy. What's your response to that?
The law is the law. I mean, if you're in the country legally, you have TPSs that weren't ran out, you need to go home. We're a nation of laws, and there's legal ways to bring employees in this country. There's the H-2A program, H-2B. I can sit there and name 20 different programs where you can bring someone in to do that job legally. Coming through the port of entry. What does that mean? It means they're not selling their everything they own and give it to the criminal cartels, to die in the river or die in the desert, be sexually assaulted members of the cartels. They come to the port of entry doing the legal way. There's a right way and wrong way to come to this country. If you want to come to the greatest nation on earth, you need to do it the right way. Because there are millions of people right now waiting in line, taking their tests, doing their background investigations, paying their fees to come to the greatest nation on earth. But you got 10.5 illegal aliens coming to the border that clogs the system up. There are people in the world right now that really need our help for asylum because they really are escaping fear and persecution from their home government. They're sitting in the back seat because millions of people came to the border and made a false asylum claim. So we're a country, it's a rule of law. We need to show there's a consequence for violating these laws.
Let's talk about Train de Aragua. Obviously, like you knew probably a little bit about this gang before you officially took your new role as White House border czar. Anything that has surprised you about Train de Aragua and sort of their like system that they set up in the United States?
No, they're very well. They're really very well coordinated. They're all over the country, and these groups are coordinated. They're like a Fortune 500 company. They got a business concept of how to come to this country and try to unsettle this country through, whether it's, forced sex trafficking, armed robberies, murder for hire. I mean, we just indicted 27 members of TDA in New York with the assistance from NYPD. It was a RICO investigation and involved sex trafficking of women and children, drug trafficking, murder for hire, armed robberies, and various other crimes. And it shows how sophisticated they really are. When you think of a gang, most Americans think of, back in the day, the Crips, the Blood, local street gangs. These gangs are very sophisticated, like a Fortune 500 company. They have a huge footprint in the world. And thank God President Trump came into power and we're taking them out. They're on the run right now, and they're hiding. You don't see them out there assaulting cops anymore. You don't see them out there on their mopeds ripping off people. They're on the run. They should be on the run. I'm not going to be satisfied till every member of TDA is eradicated from this country, along with MS-13 and other violent gangs.
Excellent. Just a few more questions. I want to talk about the prosecution or the filing of criminal charges against Congresswoman McIver from New Jersey. She was outside of an ICE detention facility. She says she was exercising oversight. What is the position? What is your position on, people
Well,
Congress going?
she wasn't outside the facility. She forced her way into the facility. She trespassed facility. She put hands on ICE employee. And like I said, from day one, since the inauguration, don't cross the line. You can not support us. You can push back on us. You can protest, do what you want, but you can't cross the line. And I said from day one, you cross the line, I'm going to seek prosecution. I mean, there's a right way and a wrong way to tour a facility. Yeah, they have oversight, but the way oversight works, they schedule a tour, they go through a tour. Even an unannounced oversight review, you show up, you request permission, go and see the facility. As long as the prisoners are in a safe place so that you're not in danger coming to the facility, they'll make those arrangements. However, they push their way through the barrier. They put hands on an officer. It's unacceptable. So, she's being prosecuted. And the same people who said for 4 years, no one's above the law. President Trump's not above the law. Well, either are they. And so I wasn't bluffing when I said, you cross the line, we'll seek prosecution. Putting hands on ICE. And what really irritates me the most, the same week we're in Washington, D.C. for National Police Week. I went to the Border Patrol Memorial. I went to the ICE Memorial. I went to the Blue Mass. A week we're supposed to honor the men and women carrying that badge and making ultimate sacrifice. She puts hands on an officer. So, she should be prosecuted. We'll see how it plays out in court. I'm not a prosecutor, But I look at video, I can certainly see a video and see unprofessional criminal behavior, and and they're prosecuting it. So, God bless Alina Habba. I think she's doing the right thing, standing strong on this.
I am my recent trips for this job have taken me to the southern border. In a couple weeks, I'm going to go to the northern border. Is there anything you can tell me? I know that one of the most interesting things for me was how many kind of terror suspects were arrested at the northern border. Is there anything you can tell me, just kind of what you've observed in your role happening there over the last few months?
Well, the southern border, we're down 96%. Northern border, we're down 88%. But the numbers are much fewer. When I say we're down 88%, we're talking hundreds, right? Rather than thousands. I've met with Canadian officials a total of 4 times now, so I'm paying attention to northern border. And you're right. A lot of SIAs, special interest aliens, come to the northern border because they got money. They can afford to fly to Canada, which Canada has really lax immigration rules, just about anybody can get to Canada, and make that easy trek into the United States, especially the northeast of New York State and Vermont, where 8 out of 10 illegal aliens across the border crossing northern New York and northern Vermont, right there in that within 2 sectors. So we're paying a lot of attention to that. I met with Canadian officials last week about giving Border Patrol access to certain Canadian waterways so we can stop some of this crossings. There's a Indian reservation up there. We need to have better relationships with Indian reservations because a lot of the trafficking is coming through there. But we're paying attention. We're down 88%. I'm not happy with that. We got to do more up there. But Canada's meeting with Canada. They want to put more technology on their southern border. They already put more resources on their southern border. We need to do the same. And this big, beautiful bill that's sitting up on Hill right now will give us some money to add more boots on the ground on the northern border, more technology to stop these few from coming in. But northern border's on my radar. I grew up on the northern border. I grew up in the area where these people are coming across. I still have a lake house in northern New York. So I'm keeping my eye on northern New York just because of the SIA population that comes across. Even though the numbers are small, it's a national security vulnerability that we need to close.
And final question for you, given what you've talked about the huge decrease in numbers of illegal crossings, make the case that ICE, that CBP still does need more money, still does need more resources. It seems like there's a lot fewer
We
people.
got to finish the job. We got to finish the job. This can be the first administration in the history of the nation to have total operational control of our southern border. What a meaningful thing for national security. No one's getting in this country without being apprehended to talk to. We need to know everybody coming to this country, everything coming to this country, where it's coming in, why it's coming in. So we can do that and finish the job we started on the border. As far as interior enforcement operations, right now, as you and I see, we got over 600,000 illegal aliens with criminal convictions, public safety threats walking the street of this country. It is an emergency situation. We got hundreds upon hundreds of national security threats walking the street, many of them released by the last administration in this country, even though they're on the no-fly list and terror watch list. This isn't a state emergency. We've got TDA. We're taking them down. They got MS-13. We have a lot of work to do. We got to remove every public safety threat, national security threat from this country, and that's what makes this emergency. We need the money to do that. ICE is making, a lot of arrests, more than Biden. Nowhere near what we need. We need more resources to do that, to keep President Trump's promise to the American people that we're going to concentrate on words first. Every illegal alien public safety threat, every illegal alien national security threat is going to be removed from this country. We can't do it without resources, so we need the money to do what we're doing and vastly increase what we're doing.
Was there anything else you wanted to mention that I didn't ask?
No, I'm good.
All right. I hope you have a good rest of your day.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.